Hello and good evening, everyone. I am Mallory Weber. I am your host tonight with the Conscious Leadership Network, as well as High Vibe Connection. And tonight, I have a very special topic that is near and dear to my heart. And I picked this topic because I actually feel that this is probably one of the most crucial times in our lives, especially with everything going on with the pandemic. And it's a very important topic for those that it applies to. So if it doesn't apply to you, that's entirely okay. You can take bits and pieces from it. And if there's a means of being able to attract more friends into your life, then please, by all means, utilize this for that purpose. But if it's not you that this video is for, I'd like you to challenge yourself to thinking about 3 people that this could really impact. Because I guarantee each and every one of you who's watching this video can take a moment and think about 3 or more individuals who maybe don't have the most solid family life. Whether that's somebody who lost their parents at a young age, maybe that's somebody who lived with their grandparents early on in their life. Maybe that's somebody who lost children. There are a lot of different aspects that can go into why someone's family dynamics are a little bit difficult. And I specifically wanted to share about this right now. Obviously, if you're catching the replay, this wouldn't apply, but you could always utilize it in any given time. But I wanted to share about it now because we have Thanksgiving coming up next week. And especially with everything that is going on with COVID-19, many of us are choosing the safer route of not traveling, not engaging with friends or family, and staying home. And maybe you're in a state that it was ordered to do so, or maybe you're going through quarantine yourself because you've been exposed to COVID-19. Because of that, many people who don't have that solid family network can feel left behind. They can feel lost. They can feel hopeless. They can feel confused on who to turn to when times are tough. And so that's why I wanted to share about this today, because it is such a crucial time that we all need to be able to give ourselves and other people around us the support that we all equally deserve. So I also wanted to bring this up because it will help give you a little bit of insight into who I am, some of the aspects that have made me the person that I have stepped into and show up in the world, and may give you some food for thought as far as why I choose to practice from a holistic spiritual perspective, if that makes sense. For as far as me, I actually have a very limited family aspect. I have some family involved in my life, but it's very minimal. And, for me, I'll be spending Thanksgiving with my grandmother and my wonderful boyfriend and my 2 kiddos. And locally, that's really all that I have. My dad is around in my life. He actually wasn't in my life until I was about 18 years old. And then at that point, kind of came in and out of my life. He is a really sweet man and he means the best. He just maybe is a little bit busy, and, he has kiddos that were born, who are my stepsisters who were born with a different mother. And he has other children as well that were brought into his family as stepchildren, who would be my step siblings. All of those people, my immediate half family sisters and step siblings, we interact and we engage, but I don't see them very often. I don't rely on them for anything like that. It can, in a sense, feel very alone. And that's why I wanted to talk about this, because when we go through different periods of trauma and we go through different periods of loss, frustration, immense amounts of stress like this pandemic, we all need somebody to be able to turn to, even if that's just to have somebody to talk to, somebody to rely on and know that they're always going to be there and support you. And from society's standards, it typically is your family. And on my end of the spectrum, I have been almost like ostracized in different aspects, like when my daughter needed intense medical care. And people had looked at me, medical officials had looked at me and said, well, gosh, you don't have any family who can come and stay by her bedside to be there for her and help her? I said, no, just me. And it's an aspect that's really hard for people to believe, because that is the standard. The standard is having a close-knit family and people to turn to. And in that, as I was physically alone, for example, I still never felt alone. And that's what I wanted to educate around here in this space today, is that you don't necessarily have to have this family unit that everybody is preaching about and everybody seems to have. It's all an illusion. It's all a game. Everyone doesn't have the perfect family. Everyone doesn't have that specific person they can always turn to. And if you do, that's great. I'm happy that you have that. But I'd also like you to think about the people who have never had that. That was the majority of my life. The majority of my upbringing was absent parents, people I couldn't ever turn to, wondering, what am I supposed to do? Most of the time as a kid, it was, if I missed the bus, a friend's parent would take me home, or I would commonly go to sporting events with my friend and their family instead of my own. And it was odd for everybody else. I always felt like the black sheep, the odd man out in this. And, for those of you who have felt like this black sheep, we've actually talked about the black sheep aspect. Jeremy and I have. If you're not familiar with Jeremy Lasman, he is on the Conscious Leadership Network, and I highly recommend connecting with him. He is amazing. But Jeremy and I had done this really deep conversation around what it means to be that black sheep. And if you're watching this and listening to this and you are that black sheep, embrace it. Embrace it, because that's your power. Few and far between people know what that's like. And you already do. You already know how to rise to the occasion. And if you're feeling alone right now and wondering, who do I have to turn to? I would love for you to connect with me. Put that down in the comments. I would love to interact and engage with you and get to know you and be someone who you can turn to for support. We also have an amazing community space called the Conscious Leadership Network over on Mighty Networks. I want you guys to tap into that space. I have my own specific community over on that network called the High Vibe Connection. That space literally has a chamber of topics that allows people who are in need of anything to come in and ask for it. Or those people who want to give generously to those who do need, you can show up there too, and you can offer that to other people. And I want you to think about the power and magnitude of social media these days. I know that a lot of people have been turning away from it because ultimately we need that deeper, intimate connection. But I want you guys to understand that you can utilize social media and all of these different networks to be able to embrace and meet and connect phenomenal people together. And then you can go meet them in the physical space when all this craziness is done, right? And you can even become pen pals. You can write letters to each other. You can talk to each other on the phone. You can send packages to each other if there's something that each other's needing. If you want to expand and have a deeper, more meaningful Christmas and, share that with some other people, you're absolutely able to connect with these people in all of these spaces. Facebook has all of these different group communities. Conscious Leadership Network has all of these other communities within that Mighty Network space as well that you can connect with other people. You are not alone here. And it is becoming the majority now of these broken families, of these broken homes, of these people who don't have this solid family unit. My circumstances are a little bit more on the extreme end for some of the things that I've gone through, but if you haven't gone through something that extreme, that's okay. That's entirely okay. Maybe your family just went through a bad divorce. Your parents went through a bad divorce and you just feel odd being around them. That's okay. Maybe there's just some weird sort of family dynamic that you just don't feel like you fit in. That's okay. Whatever it is, tune into that aspect, learn from it, and embrace it. Use it as your superpower. Because for me, and this is part of the reason why I named my company High Vibe Connection, for me, that absence became my superpower. Because there was nothing else that I could do other than align myself with other people. That connection aspect. You have to break out of your shell and reach out and communicate with other people in order to form that bond, in order to form that relationship. There are so many people within this world that need your vibration, that need your connection, and vice versa. There's so many people that would love to connect with you, that want to pour into you. Honestly, that's the whole reason why I'm even here in the Conscious Leadership Network. I wouldn't be in this space if I didn't connect with someone so beautiful and so powerful, and that would be Paulus, the CEO of Authority Establishment and the founder of the whole entire aspect of the Conscious Leadership Network. I wouldn't be here without that deep, lasting connection. And you truly can find your family within those people. You just have to reach out. You have to ask. You have to let them know. People are not going to know until you open up and you come into a space of vulnerability. You have to actually sit back and be one with yourself and be bold enough and brave enough to say, you know what? I do need somebody in my life. I do want to have somebody here. I do want to feel supported. I do want to connect with somebody at a deeper level. And so again, if this is you and you want to connect at a deeper level, I highly, highly encourage you. Please put it in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to even invite you as a guest on the Conscious Leadership Network so that you can talk around your experience. Because without being able to come from a space of vulnerability and talking about these aspects, our world is never going to change. We're still going to live in a state of judgment. We're still going to live in a space where we ostracize other people for not having something. It's not my fault. I did nothing wrong. It's not my fault that my mom went through what she did. It's not my fault that my dad isn't more involved in my life. He's a busy man. He's got a lot of stuff on his plate. It's not my fault that I'm very busy and so are my siblings, my half siblings. And it's not my fault that we don't necessarily live that close. Does that mean that you can't find family elsewhere? They say that, family's blood. It's true. Family is blood from a literal sense. But you can actually make your friends your blood as well. You can make that pact with them so that you can have that deeper, lasting relationship that you crave. I know people who have Friends Thanksgiving where it's nothing but their friends. They don't actually celebrate different things with their family, and they love it. They embrace it. And that's what I want you to do. If this resonates with you, I want you to embrace that aspect within yourself and know that there's nothing wrong with you for not having the things that other people seem to have. And I want you to know, majority of people don't have what they seem to. Majority of people love to wear masks over their face and hide who they really are. You can choose to be bold enough to show who you really are. I hope this resonates with you, and I hope that this helps you. If you're catching the replay, let me know. If you found this video from somebody who shared it with you, I'd love to hear about that, because that means that that person really cares about you and wants you to learn and grow and expand and harmonize and deepen that connection with yourself as well as other people. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find me over on the Conscious Leadership Network, specifically as well within my tribe, High Vibe Connection. You can connect with me here on YouTube, as well as my Facebook page, which is High Vibe Connection. You can find me on Instagram as the Intention Goddess, as well as High Vibe Connection. And if there's another topic around this subject that you'd like me to dig deep into, I'd be more than happy to. It would be my pleasure, because like I said, I've gone through it. This was my entire upbringing, constantly having people in and out of my life, family or not. You can choose to make it your superpower. It's up to you.